Okay, so here we are in Adobe Captivate, and it's not going to tell me what brand of Captivate it is, but I know that it's Captivate 2019. And let's just check out these resources. Okay, that's just some stuff that they put up there that you can kind of use to get started, and some beginning items. We got support for 508 compliance. No mention of WCAG. So I think we will start, as they said before in the tutorial that we looked at earlier, just to start with a blank project. And we have a film strip here. We've got slides, themes, text, shapes, objects, interactions, media, interactive videos, record, save, preview, publish, assets, and community, and a library, and there's our properties tab. So this has changed a little bit since the last time I used Captivate. I believe that they had already started flattening out and simplifying this menu, and I guess we also still have a ton of menus up here that we can use to dive into and find this stuff. So the first thing that they wanted us to do was go to the publishing settings, and is it under properties? I don't know. Let's try this. Let's try publish to computer. Video and executable and HTML with Flash fallback. I don't know which browsers are not using HTML5 yet, but that's okay. Got a project title. Let's call this AT Test 1, and it'll go into my Adobe Captivate projects. Okay, if we had Adobe Typekit running, we could pick out some nifty fonts or whatever, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to HTML5 and reforce publish on slides. I remember scalable HTML content was not on, seamless tabbing was off, and then more. It's the resolution. Here's our slides, slides with audio, mobile gestures, geolocation. Wow, geolocation, incredible. Accessibility, yes, e-learning output disabled. And we could just say that we want it to be enable reporting for this project, LMS, other standard LMSs, SCORM 2004, 4th edition, description, first version, there's our SCO ID, all this looks very familiar. And that looks okay to me. General settings. Okay, defaults. Okay, remember we have to turn off autoplay. Slide duration 3 seconds. Defaults. Okay, that looks like that's going to save me some trouble to not have stuff show up for only 3 seconds and then disappear. Enable wrap point, I don't know what that is. Use text captions for SFH captions instead of smart shapes. Calculate caption timing, auto size captions, auto size buttons. I'll just leave all that be for now. Recordings, audio options. Okay, there's not really anything that we need in there. Okay, this project description, they said to do this. No, this is Okay, this is an accessibility test. And then we could put our information in here or whatever. Author, Steve, company, Steve's company, yada yada yada. Size and quality, retain solid quality settings, compress the flash file, right? Advanced compression, JPEG at 80% for your graphics. Publish settings, frames per second 30, language English. Publish Adobe Connect metadata, include mouse. Enable accessibility, okay, that was there. Restrict keyboard tabbing to slide items only, and I don't know what kind of hilarity is going to ensue if I enable this. Hide selection rectangle for slide items in HTML5. Include audio, publish audio as mono, play tap audio for recorded typing, and then externalizing the resources can help performance a little bit. And then here's that start and end setting. The preloader percentage, we want to just go ahead and set that at like 20%, and that's as much as this is that is going to load before it starts playing. And then we can put an expiry date on the project. That's actually pretty cool. Project end options, the action is stopped project. Just stop it, right? Execute JavaScript, open another project, send email to, okay. And our quiz, we're not doing a quiz in this first one, but that's okay to know. And so there was one setting that I did not find in here, and that was autoplay. So let's see if we can find where this thing is. Oh shit, pardon my language. Let's just go ahead and close this for a second. Here's that. And we'll just close this for now, and then we'll just save it. Accessibility test 1. There we go. And I want to find the autoplay, and I'm loath to go into the Adobe support portal because I'm afraid I will not get out alive. It is just, unless they have done something drastic over the past couple of years, this is really the worst support documentation that I've seen in my entire life, just because it's pretty much all written by forum trolls and disinterested Adobe workers. But let's just see if I can find what I'm looking for. Autoplay. And our lovely search results are coming up. Captivate responsive courses will not autoplay on browsers. Set slide properties in Adobe Captivate. Work with events in Auto Captivate. That must be just for the videos. Okay, since I'm not really going to do a video in this one, we'll just see what happens when I do it, and then if I need to go change something, I'll do that. So we're going to call this title Accessibility Test 1, and this is some pretty bad color contrast, so I can just tell right off the bat. It would help if I knew how to move things around in Captivate. This looks like a 4x3 default canvas, and just in case people are like using DOS or Windows 95 or something. So we want to have a good title for this. I remember that. So this is going to be and I'm going to leave this little clue for myself in the title of the object. I think that what we're supposed to actually do is turn off the accessibility on this one. We want to turn off auto label, and then our accessibility name has to match. But I think what they were saying was to not have the information in the text box, and to have the information in the slide settings. But okay, it wants a name, so I'm going to call it accessibility object name. And then if we listen to the screen reader, and maybe we can tell which one of these it actually wants to read, or maybe it wants to read both of them, because that's what they said in the tutorial. So there's that. Now we're connecting to something for some reason, and this is this thing that I really don't want to see. I don't even know why. There's some spam about Captivate. Whenever I open it, there's going to be a spam window for Captivate, which is pretty awful. Can I turn it off? Here's the wrench. Enable access Adobe resources, and turn that off, and maybe it'll just go away, because I'm not going to, like, maybe some people want to do this. I don't want to do it, to like share with Facebook or Twitter or whatever these texty things are, or this texty thing, or like, it doesn't even matter. I don't want any of it. It's getting in my way, and it's making me actually not want to use it, because it's invading my space. What I am going to do is fix the text on this box here, and here's our fill. I'm going to have a solid fill, and I'm going to increase the opacity to 100%, and it doesn't really do anything. We're going to be getting into this theming stuff that is just ridiculous. So here's our text properties. That's where I should have been. Now we have black text on a gray background, so that's fine. And where are these slide notes that they were talking about? Under here, accessibility, we can write this is a slide note. Okay, so there's that. We'll just save it. And let's throw two more slides down. Blank slide, slides, blank slide. And they said to create buttons for everything. So I'm going to, under interactions, I'm going to add a button. Somehow, eventually, it's working on it, and then it's created a button. Yay, we have a button. So this button is going to be called forward, because it's the only button we need, because we're on the very first slide. So there's button, its name is forward, and I'm just going to call this title, because I want to see who wins the battle for accessibility on here? Is it the title or is it the name? And I'm not even really sure what accessibility description does. We didn't cover that in the tutorial. Okay, I want to change the caption of the button, which is here. I'm going to say forward. Okay, now this is a button. Let's make it nice and chunky. And save again. Okay. Now we're on this next slide. Let's throw down a text box. It'll be a text caption. And that's some pretty ugly caption text. So let's just go and just steal some texts from somewhere. From this lovely, uninformative text thing. Control C, copy. And go back in here, Control A, Control V, paste. This is just not very cool layout tool. That's okay. It's going to do what we need it to do, and that's fine. Change our color of the text to black, and then we're going to make this, and I'm just cringing looking at this Tahoma bold or whatever it is. I just want to flee, and I apologize to anyone who has to ever take a training that looks like the default Captivate stuff. Okay, and what we're supposed to do is give this a title, text box, title. And see, I'm calling it title again. Now I'm going to we're going to turn this auto label off, and I'm going to call it text box name. And you know, I am personally beating this horse, although it has been dead for quite a while. There's that, and the directions say to go to the slide. And now we're switched over to the slide properties. We're on this master slide. Well, it's listing what this master slide for this slide is. And we'll go to accessibility. And we're going to paste our text into the slide notes. That's done. We'll hit save just in case this thing just completely crashes for no reason. And we're going to throw down 3 buttons. This one is going to be back. And the next one is going to be, let's just go ahead and name it while we're here. Back title, and this one is going to be called turn off auto label, and this one's going to be called back name. And we do not copy, we create an entirely new button, and there it is. And just, we're going to call this one home, even though it's just going to go back. That's fine. Home, title, and then under accessibility, turn off auto label, home, name. That's okay. Change the caption to home. There's that. And then, oh no, we're not going to cut and paste. we are going to create an entirely new button. And here it has appeared like magic before us. And this is going to be, if I can get the right mouse button, I do want to see it. It's going to be forward. I don't even like forward, I like next. And that's title. Then under accessibility, turn it off, then next. Name, just as a little placeholder. And the caption is going to be next. Now these guys need to go, come on, I don't want this guy to be selected. I want these guys, I want to not copy or paste them, I just want to move them down to the very bottom of the slide, and then I want to move this text block up. Okay. And I want to set the behavior. Here's our actions, and on when we have infinite attempts to hit this button, so that's good. And then we want to go to the, I want it to jump to slide 1. Okay. Home, I want it to jump to slide 1. And next, I want it to go to the next slide. That's good. Infinite number of attempts. What do these options do? Just real quick. To add audio. Okay. Alright, there's that. I am going to copy this object, and I'm going to put it on this slide, this text object. And I already kind of know what it's going to say, but I'm going to give it a better title. Better for my purposes, anyway. And under accessibility, it kind of carried over that previous thing. That's still text box name. That's good. And we just go right to the slide and hit accessibility and Control V. There's all of our text in the accessibility field. Okay, so I think this is enough just to move forward with. I'm going to go back here, and what was I thinking of that I wanted to make sure happened? Oh, this slide gets a title. This is called title page. Title. And is there an accessibility? Okay. Oh, here's our slide notes. Okay, that's what they said to do. Is to not have any text on this guy. So, but I am going to name it. I'm going to call it or no, let's just call it text box 1. And then under accessibility. Oh, okay. Oh, see, I forgot it's going to, for these, I think it just automatically puts underscores in there. Let me try it with just a space. Call this, is that going to stick? Okay, so here's title page title. Forward should get title. Under accessibility, it should get forward name. Okay, that's good. It does not like to have spaces in these names. So we've got the title is here underneath, and then accessibility object title, okay, and this button should be forward underscore title. It's capitalized title just because, and it's stuck. Yeah, so it's forward title here. Under this it's forward name in parentheses, which, okay, that's all fine, I suppose. And we're going to call this content underscore slide title. How's that? Oh, look at that. See, this is one thing that I just really don't appreciate about Captivate, is how nitpicky it is about all the various little formatting things that it likes. Let's go ahead and set the tab order right now. Accessibility, oh wait, tab order. Okay, where are we at? Now we have our text box is not really part of the tab order. And then here's button 2, button 3, and button 4. So that seems okay. But do I want those buttons to be named that? I want this button to be back underscore title. I want the accessibility name to be back name. Okay, that works for me. Now for home, look at that. It just changed that name right back to button 2. I'm flabbergasted. Let's try it again. Let's just try back and see what happens when we do that. Do we have to hit enter? What happens? Back. Okay. What happens if I go back title and hit enter? And deselect, and then go back. Okay. So it wants to see an enter. Some of the stuff I already kind of had to deal with before, but it's literally been like 3 or 4 years since I messed with Captivate. So some of this stuff is just coming back to me. Mostly all this nitpicky stuff that is impeding my forward progress. But I guess if I just remember it, it'll help. So we go to home. I'm going to change that name to something meaningful, to home underscore title. And I need to enter, make sure I hit enter. And under accessibility, home name, that's good. Then we go to next. And this is button 4, home, next, enter, and the focus indicator disappears from around this text field. And then for accessibility, we have next name. Oh, okay, I named it wrong. I need next title. That's what it needs to be. And this kind of speaks a lot about like cognitive load, because like I'm so focused on all the little nitpicky details that Captivate needs that I've like completely lost any connection with my content. So what that points to for me personally is that I kind of have to have all of my interactions and components and everything sort of pre-planned before I start building it in Captivate. Otherwise I'm going to go down the rabbit trail of, well, how in the world am I supposed to operate Captivate? And the content starts to lose meaning, or at least like the user's interactions with the content like starts, that requirement, unless it's guarded against, starts becoming like fainter and fainter until it's not even like a consideration in the moment. And that's how like errors get made, is because I believe that Captivate throws too many hurdles in the way of working quickly, because there are so many micro settings that are seemingly arbitrary that have to be adhered to. Our stuff just does not work. And now that we're adding another set of rules on top of using Captivate, because remember, we're doing some workarounds to get Captivate, or to address some deficiencies in the way that Captivate interacts with a screen reader. So that's one set of rules on top of the normal rules for Captivate. And then we also have to keep in mind the rules of accessibility, the rules of usability. There's a lot of stuff to keep track of to make sure that me personally, I'm not inadvertently introducing errors into the product. So we're on slide 3, and I guess like just continuously talking is another thing that can cause errors. Okay. No, this is end slide. End slide. And since this is a slide name, it's perfectly fine with having spaces. It does not drop any off. It's just on certain object titles that it needs to have an underscore or no space or whatever. And I set my accessibility slide notes, yes. Okay. I mean, I think I've got a thing built here. It's something. So I can publish it. Oh, my published content expires on July the 3rd, 2019, because I am using a trial version of Adobe Captivate. That's fine. I think I could recreate this if I needed to. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's close this out for a moment and go into the file, to documents and file browser, then my Adobe Captivate products. Accessibility test 1 is zipped up, which, why did I even do that? And then here's my course, and it should launch in the browser. Oh yeah, I forgot, it has this kind has got to be hosted in an LMS, so I'm going to Scorum Cloud. I'll just put it in the good old Scorum Cloud. Okay. And let's stay in the same realm. I'll go to my library, and I'm going to go to course upload. And hey, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to zip up my Scorum package, because I kind of knew subconsciously that I was going to have to host this thing on an LMS. So accessibility test 1, there we go. We open, we import the course. And I suppose that I could go ahead and start NVDA. Because if I start JAWS right now, then it's just going to immediately tell me to restart my whole computer, and I'm just kind of fed up with that. NVDA is a good enough test for
loading
checking
NVDA.
This thing out.
Please wait.
Okay.
OBS 64C. Score 2. Volume 8. 36.
33, 29, 20,
Okay.
25, 21, 23.
Okay.
Storm cloud Google Chrome.
It's kind of blowing.
OBS 6.
It's kind of blowing my ears out.
Maximize.
Okay.
Storm cloud.
Okay. So I can go ahead and launch this course.
Loading engines content player. Frame about blank. Captivate. Button. HTTPS. OB. My volume 16. Volume slider for mixer. Captivate e-learning course Google Chrome 2.
Okay, here is our course. Let's see what happens when we use the good old tab button.
Rewind button. Rewind.
Okay, here's the tab button.
Play button. Play.
Okay, if I hit enter on the play button, because remember they said that the play bar was inaccessible or was not compatible with a screen reader. Maybe they fixed it. I'm going to hit enter and see what happens.
Pause. Pause. Clickable title page title accessibility test 1 graphic.
Well, look at that. Okay, so accessibility test 1, then it says graphic. So it thinks that the text box is a graphic. Let's tab again and see where it goes.
Forward. Name. Button.
Okay, so it didn't pick the title, it picked the name. So I guess we should not worry so much about the title, or we could just make sure that we put the same value in the title and the name. And the reason that they should probably be the same is because when you're moving elements around on your page, sometimes you have to go by the name, the specific name of the object, and if it's different, then that could be confusing when you're trying to do stuff. So just make them the same. Let's tab again and see where we get.
Rewind button. Rewind.
Rewind button. Rewind. What happens if I rewind? I'll hit enter. It just goes back to the title again. It doesn't read anything. Tab.
Pause button. Play.
Okay. I want to play it. Play.
Pause. Clickable content slide title video type. The type of video that you want to insert. Progressive download video. Choose this option if the video is hosted on any internal server, web server, or Adobe Media Server, AMS. Streaming video. Choose this option if you want to use RTMP streaming.
Okay, it's going to read that, and that's from the slide notes. And it didn't say graphic, but let's see what happens next. I'm just going to tab again. Actually, let me try the down arrow key and see what happens.
Graphic video. Choose this option if the video is hosted on any internal server, web server, or Adobe Media.
Okay, that's weird. Down button again.
Graphic server, AMS. Streaming video. Choose this option if you want to use RTMP streaming. The video must.
This makes no sense. Down arrow again.
Graphic be hosted on AMS. Adobe Media Streaming Service. Choose this option if the video is hosted on AMS.
So it says graphic, and then it's reading the text from the slide notes. And it's only reading like 10 words. And I think that by announcing that this text is a graphic, I don't know. This is something that I noticed in my previous experience with Captivate 7 or Captivate 8. I forget which one it was. And it was just, it's confusing to hear graphic and then it starts reading the text. Let me tab again and see where we go. Tab.
Back name button.
Okay, so the name, so it's picking up the whatever it reads out of the accessibility notes.
Home name button.
Okay, it's saying that it's a button, so that's good.
Next name button.
Okay, that's good.
Rewind button. Rewind.
Great. Okay, now if I shift tab, is it going to go backwards?
Clickable next name button.
Why now is it saying that it's clickable?
Home name button.
Okay, I want to go to home, so I'm going to hit spacebar.
Title page title accessibility test 1 graphic.
Okay, so the spacebar is activating controls, and the enter button is activating controls. Enter key, spacebar key. Let's tab again.
Forward, name, button.
Okay, I want to go forward, so I'm going to hit the spacebar. Okay, it doesn't tell it. It makes a click, but then it doesn't read any of the content on the page. So I guess I'm just going to hit tab and see what happens.
Back name button.
Okay, I can go back. What happens if I hit shift tab?
Content slide title video type, the type of video that you want to insert, progressive download video. Choose this option if the video is hosted on any internal server, web server, or Adobe Media Server, AMS. Streaming video, choose this option if you want to use RTMP streaming. The video must be hosted on AMS. Adobe Media Streaming Service, choose this option if the video is hosted on AMS or any other web server and the service provider is one of the Adobe partners. With this option, you can use either RTMP or HTTP streaming. If you want to embed an HTML5 video hosted on YouTube or Vimeo in a slide, choose Objects Greater Web, and use the web address of the video to insert the video into the slide. Graphic.
Okay. I don't know why it keeps saying graphic. This text box does not contain the text that it just read. So if there was a way to make okay, so that's what they're talking about. They said to embed or to flatten the text into the background of the slide. So we're probably going to do a video that remediates some of these items. I want to try and finish out this video, so I'm going to try and finish out the course by going to the next slide.
Back name button. Home name button. Next name button.
And now we're on the next slide. Doesn't read anything until I hit space. Nope, until I hit the down arrow.
Graphic text box name.
Graphic text box name. So okay, so that really does tell me that they're right about embedding the text into the background of the slide. I just wonder how it's going to look after I do that.
Blank.
Blank. Okay, that was a down arrow.
Button rewind.
Down arrow, button rewind. Right arrow.
E. W. I. N. D.
Okay, it's reading the name of the button letter by letter.
Out of button button. P. A. U. S. E. Out of A. C. K. W. A. R. D. Out of button but O. R. W. A. R. D. Out of button X. Space. F. A. S. T. Space. F. O. A. R. D. Space. S. P. E. E. D. Out of button graphic clickable. Space. Out of graphic progress. Slide 1 of 3 slider. P.
Okay, so there's that slider. I wonder how I can use it. Since we're in here, what happens if I press the space bar?
Space. Space.
Okay, I'm just
Space.
repeatedly pressing the space bar. Nothing's happening. The cursor on the status indicator, the little carrot looking thing, that's got the focus, and I just don't know that if I drag it, if anything's going to happen. I'm going to try the arrow keys and see if that makes it move. No, my cursor is kind of trapped in that thing. What happens if I press enter? Nothing. Space.
Space.
Okay, great. And what happens if I press tab?
Audio on button.
Okay.
Audio on.
So that's the status slider, the page slider is not really useful. I mean, it might give you a status of where you're at in the entire presentation, but it doesn't really allow you to change it with the keyboard, unless there's something that I'm completely missing. So tab,
Exit button, exit.
exit button, exit. I'm going to press enter, and it should close the window.
Document, blank. Captivate e-learning course document, blank. SCORM Cloud, navigation landmark link graphic SCORM Cloud product UI, list with one items menu button sub menu add content out of list, heading level 4 Stephen Landry, link settings link.
Okay, I got a completed score, and I passed it, and I was in there for 9 minutes and 41 seconds. That's pretty accessible. So what I would like to do in my next experiment is to kind of do away with the testing between where the labels for the objects are placed in Captivate, and then I want to try building a multiple choice assessment and see if it
Running applications.
see if it's working better. Okay, I'm going to turn off NVIDIA.
Avid Application Manager. Skype NVD exit.
There we go.
Exit NVD exit NV. Oh.
I mean, that's really not as bad as I thought it would be, and that's definitely not as bad as it was the last time that I tried to do this. I'm pretty sure it was under Captivate 7. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Maybe the people who wrote that document that we looked at earlier, maybe they figured out how to do it right and figured out their workarounds, and those workarounds didn't make it to the Adobe forum. I remember definitely making an issue about how the graphic label was being read for every object, and it was calling everything a graphic, which I felt was misleading, and I ended up getting kind of into a not an altercation, but an altercation with a couple of power users on the forum who kind of took up a combative tone when I was trying to explain my problem, and they just weren't being helpful. They were just acting creepy. So anyway, that's it for this video, and when I come back, we'll try and build something that's got some multiple choice questions, maybe some other interactions, and see if we can get something usable out of that. And we'll do other things to try and break Captivate.